Operation status quo. Operation status quo. Prepare to engage. Operation status quo. Ready to engage. Operation status quo. Engaged. Engaged. Hello. Hello. That's a nice way to start, don't you think? You get hello. It's a nice way to meet somebody and introduce yourself. You go, hello. How are you? Although I might not be able to hear you reply, although I would love to hear you reply if you're out there watching me while I'm live, even if I'm not live and you're catching this later, feel free to drop something in the comments and just say hello. Just put hello in the comment section to let me know that you were here and you stopped by to say hi. And that's all you got to do, really. It's a beautiful, lovely thing, right? Hello and welcome here to Operation Status Quo, ladies and gentlemen, on a Thursday, moving through the week. Here we are on a Thursday already. I always say this about the days of the week. I don't know why it's such a fascination to me, right? When Mondays, I go, oh my gosh, it's Monday again. By the time we get to Friday, I go, oh my gosh, can you believe it's, Friday again? But, this kind of happens all the time. So I'm going to digress from making such a big deal out of what day of the week it is. Because we all know that all time is instantaneous anyway, and there really is only one moment. So we don't have to get too deep into what day of the week it is, because that's just for kind of planning purposes, right? Okay, so anyway, I am Pete Palma. Hello and welcome to Operation Status Quo. Of course, this is the space where we observe the status quo of life. We learn to flow with the status quo of life, and then, of course, we create our own flow of quo, because that's the only way to go. And I always like to encourage everybody out there, no matter what your background is, no matter what your upbringing was, no matter what your traditions are, no matter what, it's all about just finding the truth within yourself and living a happy life. I mean, that's really what it's all about. That's what we're here for. It's crazy to think about when we look at the world around us today and everything that's going on, and, everything seems so heavy, right? I mean, and life really shouldn't be that heavy if you really want to take it from the standpoint of a lot of stuff that we share here on Operation Status Quo, that, we chose our life, that, we are expressions of divinity beyond our embodiment in this physical realm. So it's really crazy to think about how heavy everything is. We should be having a little more fun and enjoying things, right? Enjoying the beautiful world out there. And that's what I encourage you to do the best you can. Of course, things are what they are and you got to do what you got to do. But in general, we don't have to make so much heaviness out of it and try to, get out there and enjoy our life. But anyway, today is the 14th of September in the good year 2023. And today's program is entitled Burning Down the House. Burning down the house. Remember that song? That's where the title came from today. But really what I'm talking about here today with burning down the house, and let's not, this is not to promote arson or anything like that, so let's get that off. It's just more of trying to have a clever title, more so than actually giving any sort of direction for somebody to do something that might be detrimental to themselves, to property, or to others, So we're not burning down houses literally here, okay? But anyway, I really wanted to get into today a little bit about, and it fits in with everything else we talk about, but the housing market and such. As I mentioned here a couple times, obviously, I have my real estate license in Florida, so part of that is some continuing education that I have to do, from time to time to keep my license active and blah blah blah. And I mean, it was in the midst of this class that I was going through, and and really just I guess I never looked that deeply into it. And for people who are finance people and all, this is no surprise or anything, but I just wanted to, and I had some stuff I was going to maybe give some facts and figures. You know how I am. I always say I'm not really a facts guy. I don't like to get into all the facts, because really it's not even that they're facts. It's not, I want to clarify that, because I do say this all the time that I'm not a facts guy, but I mean facts. Yeah. I mean real facts, but I'm talking about, our mainstream facts, as it were. It's a lot of jargon for, no reason, just to make confusion. I feel like it's more obfuscation and confusion and misdirection than it is actual pertinent information in a way. So, but being involved as I've been involved and researching some of the things I've researched in, I guess I just like to, offer a simple point. And this is coming from somebody that's would try to sell a house or something, but, I wouldn't buy anything. All right. I'll tell you right now, people, the way this world is right now, and I have really strong beliefs that our, economy is going to change dramatically, from the system that we're into. I'm not saying it's going to be gloom and doom. I'm sure it'll be some sort of difficulties in a period of time. But I think it's going to liberate us in a much better way. And, the more I study this real estate stuff, I just can't get over how people are ripped off so badly, and how these lenders and these mortgage companies, it's totally evil. Like all the requirements of what you have to give to them to make and then whether they approve you or deny you. Like for an example, was one of the things I was researching. They were studying through this class, and they were talking about short sales and stuff. So somebody doesn't have the money to pay their house anymore, and the house is worth less than what they paid for it, and all this type of stuff. And there's the process they can go through to try to get out of that and work with the lender and such. And the lender can either approve, can deny, could let you go on the money that you owe, could force you to pay the money back, the difference, if you bought the house for $200,000 but now it only sells for $130,000, and you have to get out of it, and you're $70,000 in the hole. They can basically make you have to pay that. And if they forgive you, here's the crazy thing too: if they forgive you on the 70,000, right? Then it gets reported to the IRS as income. You're like, where did you didn't get $70,000, right? But they'll report it to the IRS as income. The reason I'm really talking about this today is because our financial system and our way of life is just. It's such a debt. It's a debt system meant to entrap and enslave us. And they make this grand thing about home ownership. Own a home, own your own home. And even if you do own your own home, what do you really own in a sense? Because you're still subject to, the laws and conditions of whatever. If, it's not like, I know you can sell it on your own, but there's so much involved with. That's why I would say, if you're buying a house, from now on, anything you buy, don't mortgage anything. Don't get loans on anything. That's what really gets me about these lenders and these banks and such. They'll put you through the ringer to lend you the money that they're going to make a ton more money off of, and then use the money that they get from you to loan it out to other people. But then they're always coming after you. Like even some of the stuff I found, like talking about like your credit history and all, you want to get this type of loan or that type of loan, depending on your credit score and blah, 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 what you qualify for and different things. And part of that was like, if they're saying having like no credit is worse or just as bad or worse as having bad credit, because you've never had debt, you didn't have a credit card or anything like that. So when you really think about it, you're being penalized for not using debt. Like you're being penalized for if you use cash for everything. You have your money, you spend your money, you don't take out loans, you don't have credit cards or anything like that, which would be honestly a really great thing. Isn't that a beautiful thing if you manage your money in a way that everything you buy, you pay for right in one shot and it's done. But no, they want, to be able to track everything you do. And they encourage you. They would encourage you, hey, you want to be a homeowner? Got to get yourself a credit card, and start making payments, showing blah, 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 blah. You got to build up a credit history. But, that's it's a facade to get you trapped into the system, and not only to get you into the system to become in debt, but also to be in the system so they can track what you're doing. And it's like, and they make it like under the guise of they're doing you a favor. And one of the biggest things that stood out to me from what I was watching when I was reading here was just about in general with that Patriot Act from, with 9/11. I think I mentioned this when I did the 9/11 show, but anyway, for you to get a loan, they have to do like a background check on you and your credit history all intertwined to make sure you're not a terrorist. I'm just saying, think about the depth of how they dig into your pocket, dig into your, your personal life, dig into everything, and they make it like they're doing you a favor. Let's see if I can pull up something here on one of these. Let's see here if I go to. Well, here's the short sales, right? So let's see if I just go to this section here. I'm not pulling this up on the computer because, this website, I just don't want to advertise anything and blah, blah, blah. But see, they get into here too. Let me just see that. Like short sale mortgage fraud, right? So, let's see if I can get into what they talk about. So, people who have a short sale sometimes, and they're talking about how they'll try to fraud it. They'll, with misrepresentations in paperwork, such as W-2, Social Securities, misrepresentation in gift letters, like the money was actually given. And here's the thing too, when gifts, like when you're buying a house or something, if somebody wants to give you, $5,000 towards the house or something like that, like, they make it all complicated. You got to track every dollar and where it came from. Like, I just don't understand how this is America and how this is freedom, if somebody gives you a gift for, a down payment on your house, you have to, put that money in your bank, and it has to be there for a certain amount of days, so it could be verified. And, they probably check on the person too, that gave it to you. But this is fraud for property I'm talking about here with short sales. Let's see here. I just want to see if I can get to the key points. Let's see what there. Let me go back up over here. Yeah, and they're saying too, like it might be fraud if a home is deeded or gifted back to a relative. So they're trying to say, like in a situation where somebody might not have the money, a short sale, type situation, somebody else might come in and buy the property at the lower value, and then they'll deed it back to the person that owned it originally, so that the price is cheaper now and all this, or they rent, or whatever the case may be. But you can't give it to a relative. Why can't a relative help you out? I mean, I don't know. I know that I'm obviously, how I always do, I jump all around. But, I saw all this stuff with especially the different types of loans, and, how you have to qualify and how they evaluate you and all this type. It really gets me agitated because I feel it's intrusion. And yeah, are there people out there that try to rip things off or do fraud? Yeah, absolutely. And you know why? Because the mortgage companies and everybody else, they're all liars and fraud. It's all, the whole system's a game and a fraud to begin with. So somebody's trying to get around it. I'm not saying do something illegal and go to jail, but I'm also saying, they're lying to you. They're taking it from you, to begin with, is what I mean. And then, when you try to get something back, let's see if I can get to these key points over here. If some of this tells you, let's see here. In the short sale process, here's a couple things about like a short sale. Like if you went, this is just an example, like short sale. If you went through something like that, basically, they're trying to say that even when once you get into the situation, the lender automatically starts the foreclosure process, right? So now if you're going to try to do a short sale and get out of whatever, they still can. The lender doesn't have to accept the short sale, right? They can go ahead and foreclose on the property anyway, even if you're in the process of trying to get something. Even if you're a seller and you accept an offer from a buyer, it doesn't mean that it's going to go through necessarily. It just depends on what they decide as far as how it's going to evaluate, how it's going to play on their costs. Oh, that's another thing too. I know I'm jumping all around, but I saw so much stuff. I've been doing this class and I just been through all this crap. But even like the PMI, the mortgage insurance you have to pay sometimes if you can't put a certain amount down. All this about protecting the lender. I don't know what you're talking about, protecting the lender. First of all, these housing prices are way overinflated, to even give people a chance to purchase a home. Like you have no choice but to get a mortgage. How many people have like $3, $4, $5, $6, $7, however much $1,000 just sitting around, to buy a house, but I encourage people, knowing what I know now, if I can go back to when I was 12, I had my first little job, I would have done everything so much differently outside the system because I just realized, how much of a fraud it is. I'm sure you guys know how much of a fraud it is too. Let's see. There was a couple things I wanted to see. There was one thing I wanted to see. Basically short sales as well. Like I said, it can't be done with a relative or a friend. It has to be at arm's length. There could be no undisclosed relationships. Everything's about they're worrying about getting tricked. And the truth is they're taking everything from you, and it really, quite honestly, it's like I'm doing this crap and it really ticked me off, to be honest with you. I'm like, this is not right for everyday people trying to make a living, trying to make a home, and all these laws and rules, and they make it like it's all about protecting the the homeowner, the buyer, everybody's being protected. But the truth is, it's all, everybody's ripping everybody off. Let's see if I can go back over. What was this one here? Let me see if I saw. I know I'm not, like I tell you, I don't sit here and make all these diligent notes to give. You can go look up this kind of stuff too on your own. I'm just trying to bring a little, light to the idea of how, like, here we go, housing, first time home buyers. Let me go through here and see. I'll go to the key points on this section, see if it has some information. So like here's some stuff about just people buying houses and such. Housing prices are rising at twice the rate of inflation and income, a trend that's expected to continue. Housing prices rose 6.2% during 2016-2017, while wages rose only 2.6%. The HUD considers families that pay more than 30% of their income for gross housing costs, including utilities. They're considered burdened because they're paying more than 30% of their money goes just to the housing. More than 18 million households, renters plus homeowners, now spend more than 50% of their income on housing, qualifying them as severely cost burden. This represents more than 25% of renters, 11 million people, and 10% of homeowners, about 7.6 million people. Affordability doesn't simply mean how expensive housing is. It has to do with how expensive housing is compared to how much income how much the income is in that particular area. Of course, they say minorities of all types are disappropriately shut out of home ownership. I mean, of course, we have to know that absolutely everything in our world is racist. But they do say here that the U.S. Census for Q2 of 18 home ownership rates, I guess, obviously it's a few years past that, but the average is 64.3% of Americans are homeowners, and they say that 72.9% is whites, 41.6% is blacks, 46.6% is Hispanics, and then we have Asian and Pacific Islanders, Native Hawaiians, 58%, and all other races, 55.7%. Does that equal up to, I don't even know how they had 72% plus 41%. And 50, that's a lot of, it seems like a lot. See what I'm saying? It's all obfuscation. It's all obfuscation. Extremely low income renter households account for 26% of all. So, of all, 26% of all U.S. renters households and nearly 10% of all households in the U.S. So, basically you're going through all these numbers of how low it is. And the millennials was a big deal. Millennials, currently 21 to 37 years of age, have a home ownership rate of just 34.7%. The percentage of millennials living with their parents increased almost 15% between 2006 and 2013. And that's another thing they said in one of the other things I was reading, we're talking about, if you have a hard time, even with the short sale, you can't afford your house anymore. Well, maybe you can, rent it out and go live with your parents or go live with a friend or something like that to, to take the cost burden off. And they look at all this other stuff too, going back to the short sale thing. Like if you have other assets, they'll make you sell your car, sell your boat, I don't know, sell one of your kids, this way you can pay back, the mortgage, which is all super inflated anyway. And the gap in millennial home ownership rates between college and high school graduates widened from 3% to 10% as compared to the prior generation. But going back to what they said with the millennials, they kind of like encourage people to go back and live with their parents. I'm saying this is the shit that they're putting out and teaching to people. I found it very off-putting, I have to say, in general. So I know it's just kind of like a thought today, burning down the house. That's what we're talking about. And I just realized from some of the stuff I've been studying, I never really thought about it as deeply, because obviously I'm involved with this a bit and trying to learn some things and, doing this class. And I just realized, like, everything I'm reading, I just realized, like, my God, they're just like, it's total ripoff. Like, I wouldn't trust the mortgage companies. I wouldn't trust, between the title insurance, between the this insurance and the that and the this and all the things you got to do. You buy a house. It's like, you go to Walmart. Well, I shouldn't use Walmart. I hate to use Walmart as an example because how we feel about Walmart here. But you go to a store and you excuse me, buy something, you just give them the money and you get it. Like, I don't even understand. Like, the house would be the same thing. That's why I encourage people. I know it's not an easy thing to do, but if you are thinking of home ownership in some regard, whatever you can do to pay, I mean, even if you had to take less, like half or less in the mortgage, if you bought a $400,000 house, at least put 250 down and get, and pay off the mortgage as quickly as possible. I just feel it's all entrapment, enslavement. Then they own you, they own your property. They still have their hands in your stuff. The background checks. I just think everything is so intrusive in our world. It just really agitates me. And no one has the right, like these people and these rules and the government and all this shit. Like that's what really gets me. These people don't have the right, man. They don't have a right to be involved in your business like this and to treat people this way. Everyone deserves homes. And why are we not, we all need places to live. Why are we not building a society where it works out? Like, why are we making it so difficult? Oh, it's becoming harder and harder for people to, now they want people to live in tiny homes or, live in a shoebox. I mean, I not that a tiny home's bad if you like a, little confined space. I mean, you're working your way down to the coffin, I guess, as you get older. So, maybe you get smaller and smaller houses as you're going. I don't know. But anyway, that's basically all I have here today. I know it's not. Let's see if there's anything else here that I wanted to share with. What do they talk about here? The rise in homelessness has been driven by the decreases in affordable housing stock, wages not keeping the pace with rising home costs, increasing number of severely cost-burdened households. Some studies suggest that improved housing and neighborhood quality can have a corresponding reduction in mental health care costs for people who live there. Well, I mean, I guess so. If people have a place to live, they might not go out of their brains crazy, right? How about this? Approximately 500,000 U.S. citizens are homeless. I wasn't really sure how many it was, but that's what they say. About a half million people are homeless. So hopefully they're all living in nice places like down here in Florida or over in California, I guess, are the two spots where it's kind of warm all year round. I guess Texas too, right? Texas stays pretty warm if you're over there generally. But anyway, aside from that, I don't mean to go off on a tangent that way, but in general, I've been looking at this stuff, and as a licensed realtor, I can't give you any go talk to an attorney, go talk to a tax professional, go talk to all the professionals, but not to me. But I will tell you this, you're getting robbed every which way till Sunday. And, and just really think about what you're doing if you're getting involved with purchasing a house. And right now I would tell people, don't do anything. Don't do anything until, the system shakes out. I think housing prices are going to come way down. That's just my thought. And I think other things are going to go up. And I think there's going to be kind of a flip-flop in some of our economic ways that we're used to right now. So if you are interested in getting a home, I think things are going to be better in the future. If you have a home that you want to sell, like I would tell you, don't even sell it. Like keep it as an asset, rent it out. I know people want to get that equity a lot of times and put it into something else. That's another thing too. Let me just finish with this. It's another thing too. But let me finish that point. I would say if you can keep a house, keep the house. As an asset, because it's still something that you own that is like a commodity based, something that's real and tangible, as opposed to, the fake crap that's in the stock market that they can just go bloop and flip the switch and, oh, it's all gone. Thank you. It's all gone, But another thing about the loans and such, like your home equity loans or a home equity line of credit, back in the day, I had gotten, this is years ago, like when I was married, I had gotten a home equity loan and was able to use it to pay off some things, it was tax deductible. Now they take that away from you. It's those kind of loans, it's not even tax deductible anymore unless the money you use is specifically for home improvements, like refinishing your basement or, adding a bathroom or something like that into the house. Then the money could be used as a tax deduction, but you can't take it from your property, use it to maybe help yourself to pay down other things and get a tax break, on top of it. And that's what I mean. That's the point of the stuff I'm saying. Like the whole system is designed to screw you over. Like, no, you can't get extra here. You can't get extra there. We got to charge you all this interest. You got to pay the interest up front. It's just like, it's slavery. It's socio-economic slavery, like I say all the time, and they're doing it right into your living room. So just stuff to be mindful of. If you're in that market, if you know people who are, if you're thinking of stuff, when you think about your own home and how you're going to move forward in the future, if you're going to move again at some point, or really look into all these things and start now with the thought process of you don't want to be in this type of system. Whatever you can do to you want to buy a house, you buy a house. Even with realtors, it's great. I'm a real estate agent, right? I can do. But truthfully, you know what I'm saying? You don't need nobody. Go do it. It's your house. You know what I'm trying to say? It's your house. You could sell it. There's reasons to have a realtor. And again, that's just because the system is, effed up, and they make an intermediary that has to do this type of stuff when it really shouldn't be that way. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. But, there's opportunities for you to be a, for sale by owner and do your own thing, and, not let this system, dig into your pockets too much. So, hey, God bless America, right? We got 500,000 homeless people. We got 50% of the population can't afford housing. Hey, God bless America. We really care about the people. We're really, getting out there and making life easy for people and trying to help them out and give them at least a basis of stability so they can build up, from there. So anyway, that's how sick, disgrace our system is. But that's what we're moving away from. That's why we do Operation Status Quo, because we observe what's going on in the world. We realize what's happening. We have to flow with it in some regard, because these are the current standards and laws and such. But we create our own flow, and we start working away from that, and we get into a new way of being prosperous, home ownership, all the things, prosperous in all ways, not just, home ownership. So anyway, I hope this information was somewhat helpful or at least enlightening in some type of way. So, think for yourself in that regard. Be really mindful. Be careful when you get involved with trying to get loans and all that type of stuff. These people just want to make money, just like everything else. And like everything, there's nice people out there that are going to do things in a nice way. But at the same time, in general, it is what it is, right? And we understand what it is. So anyway, that's what I got for you here today on Operation Status Quo, ladies and gentlemen. If you haven't done so already, please take the time to like, subscribe, share, send this out to your friends, your family, those you love, and of course, those you despise as well. I love each and every one of you individually as well as a group. And until tomorrow, Operation Status Quo, disengaged.